Pro boxing fans, we are here in Belfast, the home of the man in front of me called Frampton. How are you, sir? How's it?
Good, mate. I forgot. I'm on my way out and I've stole someone's ears and microphone, so I need to get that sorted. But good, mate. I'm good. Looking forward to a big night.
You've been here before, but first time two Irish guys have fought for a world title in Ireland. That is a good landmark, right?
I didn't realise that until this fight was made and someone said about that stat. It's incredible, really, when you think of how long boxing's been on and how many good fighters the island has produced. So, great stat, and it just adds a little bit more to the event and makes it a more historic event. And yeah, I'm buzzing for it now.
Talk to me about this one. First time round, I'm sure there's no controversy in saying this, but Paddy Donovan was winning that by a landslide, and things happened which he was gutted about. And is this just a redemption way of Lewis Crocker first of all, or secondly, do you feel like Paddy Donovan just does what he needs to do on Saturday nights?
It's difficult. I think. Look, I know for a fact that Lewis Crocker's a lot better than his last performance, but he's going to have to be a lot better. I think he made a lot of things easy. Paddy's an unbelievable boxer. I've always loved watching him. Even in the amateurs, I like that style that he has. But Lewis really made it easy for him, and how he fought, coming forward with his hands stuck to his head, not really moving his head, just allowing him to have a target, and not. When he got close, he didn't stay close, didn't throw enough punches either. So I think there's loads of things Lewis can improve on. Paddy possibly could improve on his performance as well, but I think we're going to see a lot more competitive fight than the first one. I know a lot of people are writing Lewis off, but I think he doesn't mind being in that position. In some ways, it takes a bit of pressure off him. So I think we're going to see a different animal tonight in Lewis Crocker. Whether it's enough to win, we'll see tomorrow.
I do want to talk about Andy Lee as well, because obviously he's turned out to be a trainer, man, a fantastic trainer. It seems Joseph Parker swears by him. Hamza Shiraz in his last interview said, look, if I can stick with this guy, I'm going to stick with him throughout my career. I know it's a bit early for him to be saying that, but he has said that. Paddy Donovan speaks very highly about him. He seems to have a way with his fighters, and they seem to show that on fight night. What do you make of him as a trainer? I
think Andy Lee is one of, if not maybe the best trainer on the planet at the minute. I know that's high praise, but he's someone that I've known for quite a while, and he's just full of wisdom, bit of old school Kronk style as well, with the wisdom. Smart guy who's been at the top of the sport as a fighter as well. Been around so many good fighters at the Kronk. I mean, I know he's done a lot. He used to spar Vladimir Klitschko and stuff, do light spar. So the guy knows what he's doing. But Andy was always someone that I looked up to, even as an amateur. Although he's a couple of years older than me, when I just broke onto the amateur scene at like 18 or 19, Andy was maybe 21 or 22. But he was like the established, experienced guy at that early age. So I have a lot of time for Andy, and a great coach, I think.
It is going to be a great fight on Saturday. Another great fight on Saturday is probably the fight of the year. They're calling it the super fight of the year. Canelo Crawford in Vegas, man. I need your thoughts. A few narratives playing out in regards to this fight. First of all, is it the right time to be facing Canelo? Is he getting old per se, or is the weight natural for him? And should he be the big man, and should he beat Crawford? How do you see this fight?
I think it's a mega fight. You go back to Hagler Hearns. That's the sort of caliber we're at. Two of the best guys that have done it in this generation, facing off against each other. I know Crawford's coming up a couple of divisions, but Canelo is going to be the bigger, stronger man on the night. But I don't think size will, of course, play a part in the fight. But I think Crawford's going to try and be smart. He's going to try and move. I think that Canelo's feet aren't what they once were, and they've slowed down a bit. And for that reason, I'm picking Crawford in a close fight. I don't think it's going to be the most exciting fight, and I think it has to be boring for Crawford to win. But I see Crawford nicking it. Possibly a draw. I think it's going to be really close. And I know a lot of people are saying Crawford now. I think the majority are still saying Canelo, but I think I might have been the first person to say Crawford beats Terence Crawford at the night he beat Errol Spence, and everybody laughed at me. But people are starting to come around to that idea, and if he pulls it off, maybe one of the best predictions of all time.
No, it is crazy. I'm not sure if you got to see the press conference yesterday or some of the clips. In there, Max Kellerman, who's hosting the press conference, was talking very highly of the UFC and Dana White, and then Canelo stopped him and said, look, you better stop with that.
Canelo was absolutely right. I mean, he was doing a lot of ass kissing for Dana White, and I don't know Max Kellerman, but it was that's what it seemed to me. I mean, you've got two superstars in Canelo and Crawford sitting on the stage, and he wants to talk about the UFC. Boxing is big at the minute. It always has been big, but there was a while there where we thought it was on the decline, and sports like MMA and the UFC in particular were going to take over. But I would argue now that boxing right now, with the fights that we're getting made between the unification fights, the champions fighting the champions, boxing is a bigger sport than MMA and the UFC right now. I would say that. Maybe expect me to say that as a boxer, but I think Max Kellerman was talking a bit of shit, and I'm glad that Canelo put him in his place.
Fair play to Canelo, because obviously at any point, fighters don't fight 2 days before they fight. They maybe not concentrating, or mind might be elsewhere, but he was
just a bit disrespectful to the boys on the stage. Talking about Dana White being an amazing promoter, absolutely, but I mean, I could have promoted this fight. It's fucking Canelo versus Crawford. We don't need to have a big name Charlie promote. Like, the fight promotes itself. So yeah,
especially when it's obviously when the masses can get to see it. I do want to talk quickly. AJ Fury, AJ's put out this Instagram story where he's called out Tyson and said, listen, let's just have it. What do you make of all of this? I know we keep talking about it. It's been like the last 5 years we've spoken about this, but do you feel like the public are going to take to this and they still want to see this fight? I
would love to see it. I mean, I think the public will still take to the fight. It's a fight that people want to see. I mean, I wish it would have happened 5 or 6 years ago, but if it happens now, I mean, look at the interest there's going to be around Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul, or Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather. So they're going to get huge numbers, aren't they? AJ and Fury would still at this point sell Wembley out twice. I think it's still a big fight.
Is it still the biggest fight in boxing outside obviously Canelo Crawford this weekend? We asked Eddie Hearn this, and he said, yeah, he said to us that this is the biggest fight outside. Name me a bigger fight.
Do you know what? I'm trying to think, is there a bigger fight? In terms of the names and their profile, I think Eddie might be right, but that's the way the boxing world is at the minute. People have their favourites, and fighters. Some fighters are well supported. The guys, AJ was kind of, I mean, he brought so many new eyes to the sport, and Fury has a completely different fan base. But I would tend. I'm trying to think. There's another fight I can pull out of somewhere that's bigger than that, but I don't think there is.
Interesting. Last one. We're in this era, 2025. Last 2 years we've seen a Riyadh season, which has been successful. Do you wish that you were fighting in this period, because there's a lot of money flying out there?
I was about. If my career had been 4 years after, like kind of starting off, it would have been nicer. But I've done all right, and I was happy with everything I'd done in my career. But it would have been nice to get involved in a few Saudi events just for the pension,
But one thing I do want to add on is fighters deserve the money that they get, because whilst I'm doing what I'm doing on this side, fans watch from a TV very comfortably in the arena. You guys are the ones that are taking punches to the head. So whatever the money is, whatever the figures are, whether they're inflated or not, fighters deserve it, right?
Look, fighters will fight, and people. There's always criticism thrown at fighters for maybe fights not being made, but a lot of the time it's down to money, and it's down to people being paid correctly for fights. And when you've got someone like Turki Al-Sheikh throwing whatever money he's throwing at this game, fighters are going to fight. I don't know another fighter that would be afraid to fight another person in their weight division, but maybe just financially it doesn't make sense for them, and that's why they're not happening. But if you're paid correctly, they're going to happen, and we're seeing that.
It's a good time, man. Carl Frampton, always a pleasure, sir. I think you might be doing a little bit left on the zone if you're done. I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you as always. Thank you very much.